Put your shoes on, we got a long walk home. And grab your pitchfork and your torch, it's a long dark road. And if you stay close to me, we'll make it through the night. You know the monsters come out when they see the street lights.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a second episode of Everyday Voices of the Paranormal. This is Reverend Jamie McCaskill.
And John Campbell.
Welcome back, guys. Now, originally what we planned to do was the last episode, I was going to interview John, then John was going to interview me for this one, then the next one we'll be doing equipment. But if y'all were listening along, y'all heard, because we're doing this off the fly. And things will change as we go along. So because we're not writing anything down, we're not researching anything, we're just doing episodes. So, and a mistake I want to point out, John, is I don't know if you noticed, when we recorded the first episode, we recorded the music live onto the recorder. And you probably noticed the outro took a little second to play, and it was low. I accidentally forgot to turn the volume up. So Joel, if you're listening, man, your music's great. I'm sorry I made that mistake. I did turn it up a little bit as we were going, and I noticed the volume was down.
It's awesome songs.
Yeah. I love the outro fits perfectly. It says I left this place, so it fits in perfect. So me and John got to talking at the end of the last episode, and we decided this week we're going to talk a little bit about aliens. Now, we don't know a lot about aliens, besides, the government is keeping them a secret type of things like that, Area 51. And then, of course, if you watched History of Fostoria Volume 3, there was a UFO sighting here in Ohio, and part of it was here in Fostoria. There was, yeah.
And I seen something that freaked me out.
Yeah, man, tell us about that, and I'll tell you something.
Me and my friend, we were getting up for school. I was in high school, and I live out in the country. My friend was driving. His name's Nick, and my road is a half mile long. We're driving to the end of it, and you can either turn right or left. There's a stop sign, and across from that was a field.
Mm-hmm.
And about a quarter mile up, there was just this huge rectangle light, like the size of a football field. It was just massive, and it was just sitting there. It wasn't moving, doing anything. I'm like, Nick, what the hell is that? I'm like, wait, shut your car off, let's get out. Listen, heard no sound at all. I told him to flash the lights, high, low. He did that. And then we seen the light shut, like a shutter, and then seen a big football-shaped object outline in the sky. It was massive. That thing, in all the years I've been doing paranormal, nothing has freaked me out more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to this day, no idea who or what it was.
So you're from here, local, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm about 10 miles away from Fostoria.
When you remember when that was? Because I'm curious if what you
91, 92, somewhere.
I'm wondering if that's related to the one that was in the History of Fostoria series.
Did they say when it was?
I believe so. You have to rewatch it again. Matt Ehrman saw it. There was like a bunch of witnesses all over the state.
It was just south of here that I seen that.
Yeah, and he's from local. He's local too. And it was, yeah, he actually talked a little bit about his experience with it. Like me, I don't talk about mine a lot because UFO, yes, it was as an unidentified flying object. I can't explain it. I can't describe it. It's definitely not something big like what you saw. My mom and dad still to this day will claim that, I'm making up what I've seen. But, and they're all like, well, that was you trying to get out of trouble. I'm 42 years old now. I'm not going to lie about something that happened when I was 17, 18 years old. Actually, I wasn't 18, so it would have been about 16, 17, maybe 15. I was old enough to drive, so it would have been 16 or 17.
You gain nothing by lying about it now.
Yeah. And my dad lent me the car, and he told me that I was going to go to my cousin's house. And he said, don't be gone long. Make sure you come back home. And back then we had the pagers. And I had my pager on my hip. Me and my brother drove over in Jonesville. Jonesville's, I heard that too. I don't know what that was. But something drove by, like we drove down the road, and it was on the left-hand side was just open fields. And we went to the end, got to my cousin's house. That drive would take about 5-10 minutes. My cousin wasn't home. His dad told me he's at church. So we turned around to come back. Just that quick. We're getting up to that big loop that turns to the left. And right out in that open field, because it was nighttime, we saw lights hovering over the field. And it was 3 or 4 of them. They were just kind of dancing and moving around. And as we got closer, they shot into the sky. Got to the gas station. So I told my dad I'd get gas before I come home. Go inside to pay. Come out. My pager, I've got several pages. 911. They call home. I picked the phone up in the gas station. Call. Said, what's wrong? Boy, where you been? I've been gone for hours. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea. But all I did was drove straight there, was told he wasn't home, and went back home. That was it. It wasn't like...
So you lost a few hours somewhere.
Yeah. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea where.
That sounds so much like a lot of the abduction cases out there.
My brother said the same. My brother told my dad the same thing. Says, we didn't go anywhere. We just... If you guys hear a popping, that's my G Fuel bottle. But we didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. We just went straight there and turned around and went back home.
That's crazy. So I have a question for any viewers that might be listening to this. UFOs, aliens, if you believe in them, do you think they're from other planets or other dimensions or both?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the Bible talks about them. The Bible calls angels celestial beings, and that's celestial. It's up in the sky. It's out there. I'm not 100%. I believe that there are, extraterrestrial as in on other planets. I have no reason to doubt that. There's nothing that says otherwise. I mean, I don't think God would create this little planet and then put stars out there and go, well, let's give them lights. Right. And if he's going to just put lights out there, why big old whole planets? So there's more to it than that. It's figuring out what it is. Because there are people who go, oh, they're demons. They're angels. I mean, who's to say they're not? Then of course recently in the news you had we have all these cases that are popping up now, and guys, let's talk about that part. This modern world has gotten to where we, instead of helping people with mental illnesses, we accept their mental illness and let them live with it, right? It's kind of sad. Monica and me talked about that a while back, years ago, in FBI, when she was still a big part of FBI. But instead of helping these people with their mental illness, we're basically letting them live with it. We're giving them pills and stuff. And then you have all these cases lately that are coming out, which just kind of shows that we're not helping these people. We're accepting, whereas you or I, as a paranormal investigator, when we go to a house, we're not going to tell these people your house is haunted until we know for sure. Yep. We're going to look. We need to see evidence. But now we go, oh, like how you or I just shared our story. I have no reason to doubt you. You have no reason to doubt me. For sure. And that's cool. But to go, oh, well, that proves it. No, we have no
proof.
We have no. We don't have pictures. I have no pictures of those.
Right.
Or video or anything like that. Of course, back then we didn't have dashboard cameras, so
even cell phones.
Yeah. But nowadays, there are people who go, "Oh, I didn't get a picture," every cell phone, like almost everybody has one. Almost every cell phone available now has a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you pull it out? Why didn't you take a picture? And if you did take a picture, why is it the crappiest looking?
A potato camera.
Well, there was a recent case where something fell out of the sky, and they were all like, it was like an explosion. But did you notice that the camera at the house turned off right before it supposedly hit the ground?
I don't think I've seen that.
You know, look it up. You can see it's like something shoots out of the sky, and they try to say it's a UFO crash, but you see it streak across the sky, but right before it supposedly hits the ground, the camera turned off. The camera malfunctioned. Majority of but yeah, so now you got like these people are going before the courts, and they're going, we work for the government, and we've known all along aliens exist, but yet they have no paperwork, they have no pictures, they have no video. All we have to go off of is their word. It's a good way of distracting people. And
did you see Department of Justice releasing some of that UFO footage? And it's real grainy.
Yeah.
And just like,
it's a good distraction.
You would think our government would have at least somewhat HD cameras.
Yeah.
I mean,
They'd have
in
the
our
better
stealth fighter jets, that our cell phone cameras work better than theirs.
Yeah. It's a good. It's one of those things. If you look at what's going on in the world, it's a good distraction. And that's why, like, I want conspiracies to be a part of this, because I'm big into conspiracy theories. It's a good, like, way of going, hey, look at this.
But not that this.
Yeah, look at this while my hand's over here pulling your wallet out of your pocket. You know, it's one of those situations. But I do believe, yes, I do believe UFOs exist. I do believe we have, quote unquote, been visited by aliens. I have no reason to I see no reason to doubt it.
I've heard of that mathematicians, scientists say it would be mathematically impossible with the number of planets out there for us to be the only living beings.
Mm-hmm. Another good question is this, like, why would they be interested in us?
Especially if they're way far
Superior.
advanced. Yeah.
That's like going back and looking at the caveman. What would we get? What would we get out of that? Yeah, I believe in caveman too. A lot of people don't, but
yeah.
And then you have like then when you look even further into it, like a lot of my knowledge of aliens comes from, just like I said, the conspiracy theories, like the Mothman. Point Pleasant, you have the Mothman. The Mothman is believed to be an alien. You know, and then along with.
I actually heard some not really conspiracy theories, but some ideas. Some people were saying they think Bigfoot might be as well.
Well, yeah, that was one I met a long time. Oh man, I can't believe I forgot his name. But there was one guy I met, and he talks about how. Actually, you know what? I think it might have been Jody Cook that told me. Jody Cook's a Bigfoot hunter here in Ohio, cryptozoologist. And he talked about how if you look at around the time that every time that there's been a Bigfoot sighting, close to that time there's also been UFO sightings.
You have to ask too, where are the skeletons when they pass?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so.
With the Mothman, you have like a lot of alien stuff with the Mothman. The Bigfoot, like the only thing I know about Bigfoot, like I said, is that one where they said that the sightings are so close together. But the Mothman, you have that. You have Injured Cold. I believe Injured Cold. If you don't know a lot about him, you should look into him. Injured Cold was a guy that was he was. You ever watch the Mothman Prophecies?
Mm-mm.
In the Mothman Prophecies, they talk about Injured Cold in there, but they don't go into a lot of great detail on him. He was a guy who revealed a lot of the prophecies that involved the Mothman, but he was an alien, and the guy that who revealed about him, who met him, went into he wrote a lot of books about it. And he went into hiding eventually, but he talked to Injured Cold a lot. But the problem was, I believe he liked the attention. And I think he let that attention get to his head, and he just started making stuff up. And because there was supposedly scenes from Star Trek that if you looked at Star Trek, you could see where he took this idea from here, and he took this idea from Twilight Zone. But some of the stuff was real. I honestly believe that. I think he enjoyed it too much.
Yeah, I have to look into that.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's go from there, because I know me and you don't have a lot to talk about with aliens. And now let's get into the equipment a little bit. If you want to, we could do another one about equipment later, like go into more detail. But with the with ghosts. Oh, before we get there, FBI has had calls about aliens before.
Really?
There were cases. Now, of course, every one of these turned out to be nothing. But a lot of them involved, around the 4th of July here in Fostoria, people started releasing Chinese lanterns. And me and Tracy used to come over to our house because we could see the fireworks from our old house. And looking through our backyard, you could look straight up and see them. And the funny thing was, the first time we saw me and her both saw the Chinese lantern, and we watched it. We didn't know what it was either. But I went, "What is that?" Tracy goes, "I think that's a Chinese lantern, but I can't be sure." And I went, "Wouldn't it be funny if we got a call?"
And then
we got a call. and we were like, "Yeah, that's Chinese lanterns." So we actually put a thing out on our wall after that saying, if you plan to release Chinese lanterns, or you know someone who's planning to release them, let us know here. And used to, people did that way back. People used to put that out as so we would know that Chinese lanterns were being released.
So, a question for you on aliens. You've heard of abductions, obviously. You've heard of people getting abducted out of their homes?
Mm-hmm.
You know, even doors locked, windows shut, no visible forced entry, nothing. How would aliens accomplish that?
I don't know. That's one thing where usually people go into mental abilities that they use their minds and unlock the locks and stuff. Yeah, that's always crazy to me. You see them in movies where they'll show the latch on a window get turned, and
yeah, that's always freaked me out, because if they're able to actually do that,
yeah,
who's really truly safe?
Yeah.
You know,
that's one thing. Now, Jonesville, Louisiana, where I'm from, there were sightings. I've never met an abductee. I always wanted to, because I'd love to.
You might be one.
I might be. You never know.
From the story you told.
Yeah, you never know. I've had dreams that were very vivid with aliens. That's, one of them, for the longest time, I was terrified if it was true, because somebody else had told me that, maybe I was abducted, where they told me, well, so that dream, I saw the end of the world. It wasn't a biblical end of the world. It was an invasion. But that was freaky. Then I had another one. I've had these very vivid dreams. One of them involved a meteorite getting ready to strike the Earth. But yeah, nothing's ever. Even the aliens in my dream are the stereotypical TV movie aliens.
One of the scariest dreams I ever had was I was younger. I opened my front door, and as far as I could see in the sky, nothing but UFOs. And we were under invasion. Mm-hmm. Terrifying. Because if that ever happened, what could we really do against them?
Yeah. That's a good question. And there are people who go when they look at the Bible and they say, well, what if because me being a minister, I concentrate on that and I research it a lot. But people will go, well, what if the Antichrist was an alien? Because he would come from the sky. He would quote unquote have all the answers and stuff like that. So it's just it's one of them. It's amazing to think about. I try not to think too much about it, but I always like to. Every so often I go back to it. And the reason I don't I stopped researching aliens at one point. You know, you got the Men in Black. Now the Men in Black, that's something that I was very fascinated with them, and I started to. Kali, man, if you're listening, Kali is a friend of mine who will be on when we do our conspiracy theories, because he's really into the Bilderberg group, you know, the Bohemian Grove. He got me into some of those, like researching them. But at one point I was researching the Men in Black a lot. I'm talking,
Your
man.
opinion, Men in Black, aliens or government officials?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it gets really weird when you start looking into them, because they're fascinated by simple things like spoons and ink pens. Yeah, you just do a little bit of research. Try not to get too deep into it. You'll turn into what I did. But yeah, every time, all the stories, they're fascinated by simple little things. They're always in older model cars, and they're fascinated by spoons and forks and ink pens. There was a guy, like, they came into his house and was interviewing him, and supposedly he had a straw on the table, and they were fascinated about, like, what is that? And he goes, it's a straw. Oh man, do you want it? And it was like he gave him a gift.
That would tell me that they're not government officials.
Yeah, it's weird. Now, did you ever hear, you know, what's his name? He wrote Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd is really into the paranormal, ghosts and aliens and you know, boogies and all that stuff. He's really into that stuff. His family is famous for the paranormal. Aykroyd, if you look up, there's a lot of books by a guy named Aykroyd. That's Dan Aykroyd's, I think, grandpa. Let me look him up real quick. That's also, like, you know, he's got out that whole the Crystal Skull vodka and all that.
Oh yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd is the fourth generation of family that ain't afraid of no ghost. Clicking on that. This is an article from Hunt a Killer. The first to dabble in the supernatural was Dan Aykroyd's grandfather, Samuel Aykroyd. He switched careers in his early 30s, pivoting from teaching to dentistry. He opened a practice with the goal of helping anxious patients. Then you get on down here. Samuel often spoke about the spirit world. His friend Walter Ashurst. But yeah, his family was really into that type of stuff. But anyway, he tells a story of his experience with Men in Black. In fact, I bet you I could pull it up on YouTube and we could play it here on the podcast so everybody else can hear it.
So he actually got visited by them?
By the Men in Black, yep.
I wonder what for.
I think he reveals it. Because it was when he was doing that show, Sci Factor. If you remember, he used to host that show. Here we go. Right now, guys, it's just kind of got writing on the screen, just to let you know. It's about to get. It'll start here in a second.
Well, what happened? We sold the show to Sci-Fi Channel, and it was called Out There, and I basically interviewed all of the people that I admired in various fields of study, like Colin Andrews from the Crop Circle movement, Linda Moulton Howe, the expert on cattle mutilations, John Mack. And let me just put a pin in things right there, because John Mack has taken this study of abductions, UFOs, right out through the other side, and he's going, yes, we know they're here, we know they're coming, we know people have been taken, we know there's experimentation going on, we know people have been told about agendas. What we now have to do is use that as a key and as a motivation to socially transform this planet to a more peaceful, more loving, more tolerant state. So his movement, the movement for social change, has just accepts as a fact abductions, UFOs, interplanetary intervention, and what he's doing is taking it out through the positive side of it and saying, now we must use it to socially transform. And I think his message is great. But I talked to him, I talked to the Allagash guys who were taken in the canoe on that trip in Pennsylvania. The last show we did, I had both Bassett, who has the UFO time clock, and then Greer. Both Bassett and Greer were there. They were my two guests for the day. Well, the show was canceled that afternoon. And I was outside, before I knew it was canceled, in between the interviews. And I was outside, and Britney Spears called me because she wanted me to appear on Saturday Night Live with her. And so I was outside having a cigarette, the phone rang. Oh, Brittany, how you doing? Oh, sure, of course I will. I turned away like this. I turned back, and there was a black Ford across the road, a black Ford sedan. And I was trying to look at the plate, and the plate seemed kind of like fuzzy, and I was, definitely a police car. And two guys were there, and a big, big, tall guy got out of the back seat. And he stood in the street on 42nd Street it was. We were at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. And he looked right at me. And literally, I was on the phone. Hey, oh, sure, of course I'd love for the show. Saw the Ford, went back like this, turned back like a half second later, and it was gone. And that car did not go past me. It did not make a U-turn, because I would have seen 42nd Street. I would have seen that thing take a U-turn and go away. That car vanished. That car was a cloaked vehicle of some type. And whether this was like a warning to me, because the guy got out of the back seat, gave me a real dirty look. That car vanished. I know what I saw. And, it was just this fast. It was, oh, hi, Brittany, sure. Oh, of course, I'd love to. Guy gives me a dirty look. Oh, well, sure. Car gone. That's what happened. And then 2 hours later, we were told we were not to continue taping, and the show was canceled, and none of them would air. I don't know. I don't know. Was that an MIB experience? Black helicopters, military abductions that happen. Sometimes people are taken, and they talk about then being visited by, military personnel and debriefed about their abduction. Was it a technology associated with some of these beings that are visiting that wanted to warn me off, or that wanted to give me verification that I was on the right track? I don't know. But I do know I did turn back a second later, and it takes so long for an automobile accelerating from 0 to 40 miles an hour to reach the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street going past me, and then pulling a U-turn and going out towards Times Square. I would have seen that car. And I looked around. I was looking for that thing. It was gone. So, I don't know. The tapes exist. I have them. We're going to try to repackage them. We might put them out on DVD.
But yeah, that's what I was talking about, man. Like,
wow.
He talks a lot. He talks a lot about like his involved with the paranormal. Now that just to give the guy credit, that was on a YouTube channel called Guy Merritt. Guy space Merritt. I don't know any of the other stuff that he has on there, but yeah, that's something that now with the Men in Black. I was talking with Kali about this a long time ago. You have like people like Will Smith who have that. They did that movie, The Men in Black, and then you have. This is one of the, again, that goes into conspiracy theories where like I talk about how the government kind of eases stuff onto us. You have that movie Men in Black, and what does Will Smith say in the song? He says, remember when you see us, we're the good guys. And he's supposedly being one of the Men in Black. And you have all that type of stuff to deal with. So, but yeah, before we close out, because we're getting on 30 minutes here, and I know we were trying to keep the episode short. We got like another minute, but I kind of mentioned
why do they cancel? There's something in there that they don't want out.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to see the videos he was talking about.
Another question is, why keep it a secret I don't think at this point everyone would freak out.
No, we've had aliens like shoved in our face so much that I think people are more than willing to accept it now.
In the 20s and 30s, yeah, people would have freaked out.
Because they had like the War of the Worlds, and that radio broadcast, which I think we should both do a little research on that radio broadcast and do something about that. Because
there's a story that freaked people out so bad. Oh.
Yeah. No, but like I kind of mentioned like my experience with MIB. Kali will tell you, because Kali was there when it happened, because I was walking to work. I got really into because you know how I am. When I get to researching something, I put every bit of effort I have into it. I learn everything about it so that I know what I'm talking about. And I was researching Men in Black because I was really into the Men in Black. And
don't tell me you've seen some.
I don't know. I that's the thing. Kali will tell you the same thing. I was walking to work, and Kali was like, "Man, Jamie, you researched that Men in Black a little too much," because I was. And all of a sudden, like, I'm walking to work, and this black car goes past me, and I watch it go by, and I don't think nothing of it. And a little bit later, another black car looked exactly the same, almost like that person went around the block and did it again, and again, and again. And then a little bit later, a black helicopter was flying over my head, and I'm like going, they're following me. And I got to work, and I told Kali, I said, man, all the way here, bro, black cars, black helicopters. And Kali just was laughing at me, because it was, and after that I said, nope. And I brought Kali the books that I had been reading about the Men in Black.
You know what I think would be funny? You know, they intimidate you into silence, basically. Mm-hmm. I think it would be funny if someone just did something so outrageous and just mooned them.
But you ought to go like looking into some of the stories. I know we're trying to keep this one kind of short, but there's another one, if you can find it, about this guy where the Men in Black were banging they were banging the shutters on a store.
Really?
He lived next door to this store.
I truly believe they're either alien or government related or both.
I don't know if it's in this one, but there's one that's 10 minutes long on BuzzFeed. You could go check that one out. I don't know if
BuzzFeed. I don't really watch them.
But there's another. It's like Men in Black, the real story, full documentary. In fact, you know what? I think that one actually has it in there, because I think I've watched that one. But it's all kind of stories about them just showing up and shutting people down. There was one where they went to this guy's office building and destroyed the office building.
I have a question for you and anyone that listens. Black-eyed children, are they related?
I don't know. Like,
I mean, that could be a whole nother episode, because that is just creepy.
Yeah, we can do one on them. They started off as a creepypasta, from what I understand.
And would they be considered cryptid or paranormal? Or cryptid is paranormal, but cryptid or spiritual or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to find some real stories. The problem is with the creepypasta thing, is you have a lot of you have to find out, is this a creepypasta or is this true? Mm-hmm. And you have to dispose of that and use it. Justin. I'll talk to Justin Apgar. He researched them a lot. Maybe we can have him on.
I've seen some videos that are interesting that seem real. Obviously, you can fake a lot now with technology.
That's my son coming out of the house.
Like, what does that sound?
These microphones, man, they're good. This is expensive stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we have so many topics we could talk about in upcoming episodes.
Tell you what, guys, we have an actual email address. It's underneath the podcast. Send us an email. Send some suggestions to us. Message us on Facebook, some suggestions. I do want to get Joel on here, though. Mm-hmm. Find out a little bit more about his interest in the paranormal.
Get Joel. We also have, I think we're going to have a whole hour episode on gear.
Yeah.
Gear and equipment. That's going to be easy to fill up an hour.
I was going to bring a little bit of it in here because, you know, with aliens, you can use things.
But we actually talked a lot more about aliens than we thought we would.
Well, you know, what I was going to bring into that with the equipment was, you know, you can use some of the same equipment we use can be used for aliens. You got the EMF meters, the the microwave radiation detectors. All the same equipment can be, when we get into that, we can talk about that, but a lot of the same equipment we use can be used for that. Because that was what I told Matt when he was doing the History of Fostoria series, because he went into aliens. I told him, hey man, he's like, do you guys investigate aliens? I said, we're willing to. I was like, our equipment's the same equipment that's used for that. It's no problem. Here's something, this isn't something we're going to talk about here, but this is something that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and I think I've mentioned it in an FPI meeting once before. Is it possible that some alien sightings, because there are ghosts when they see us, but is it possible that we're seeing investigators investigating us after we've died? Because to us, they would look like aliens. They're using equipment.
Well, have you ever heard the song The Small Hours? Metallica did a remake. It's a song coming from the spirit's point of view. They try to get through to us in their own special ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look that up with the lyrics, and I am the chill that's in the air,
Awesome.
it comes from the spirit's point of view. It's really cool. But also, another thing we could talk about, too, I'm just thinking of so many things. Another thing that people do that can go hand in hand with paranormal investigating, I have a friend named Heather Steele. She does urban exploring, and she loves paranormal investigating. And they go into a lot of old abandoned places. And I told her, I'm like, those two things can go hand in hand like this.
Legend tripping is what I call it.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys. Well, John's got to get back to his place. So I think it's time we left this place, as the song says. So, till next time, guys, if you guys reach out to us, hey, we're willing to take sponsorships too, guys. Just saying. We'll
and
talk
if you guys
about
have any ideas, for us to talk about.
And if you have a paranormal team and you would like to be interviewed on the show, we'd love to have you. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be, I know some people reach out to investigators. Unless it's certain people, I don't plan to reach out. It's not to be mean. I want to give everybody a chance to be on here. And if I'm busy reaching out to Keith Age, Jason Haas, Steve Gonsalves, and people like that, I'm taking away a chance for a small
Keith
group
Age.
to be on.
Nice guy, awesome.
Yeah, me and him are good buddies. I really want to get to see him again. I haven't talked to him in forever, but I'd like to. So Keith, if you're listening, reach out.
Another idea for episodes: places groups can book to investigate.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
We could spend a whole hour on that too.
We could do that. We could talk about other places like the Mansfield Fire Museum and
Bel Air House.
Bel Air House.
Post out.
Yeah, there's all kind of places. I'd like to have Daryl on here.
Oh, Daryl, yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Like I said, it's about time we left this place. So, until next time, guys, I've been Reverend Jamie McCaskill.
And I'm Johnny Campbell.
And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Has it been since I left this place?